Welcome into another episode of the Lazy Bros podcast. We're your hosts Logan and Luke Lazarchik. Christmas edition. Not exactly Christmas, but Christmas Eve is tomorrow. Christmas on Wednesday. Pretty crazy week of football and sports in general. We had Week 16 NFL season, the college football playoff, which kind of fell flat. Uh, the teams hosted, the higher seats hosted the game, and all those games really ended in pretty much sustainable blowouts. The NFL this week, I mean, a lot of games. We'll go over a few of them. Fantasy football was, I felt by the sword and won a fantasy matchup because of one player at the same time. So that was a mixed bags feeling. Luke, I know we're in championship in our dynasty league now, so it feels pretty good to get to that point in that league.
Yeah, I'm just, like I said, I was ready for the playoffs, I think, last time we recorded, which I am. But it is nice, fancy playoffs. We're looking pretty good. We did lose Tank Dell. It is a best ball league, but we lost Tank Dell, which was, we were at that game, and that was tough to see. Just like, that sucks for Tank Dell. He broke his leg, then got shot, and then so he dislocated his knee towards ACL, and like they're expecting maybe he tore even more. So that was kind of sad, but it was a really good game. Besides that, Chiefs Texans. Yeah, it was one of the better weeks of football. I feel like good week of football.
Yeah, and we'll expand on that game as Luke mentioned a little later. I mean, you kind of feel bad for Tank Dell because both injuries were from teammates. He got rolled up on last year, and then this year was just a freak.
I mean, that's not why I feel bad for him, because it was teammates.
Well, no. I know. I feel bad for it happened, but it's just like it's even more unfortunate that like it happened from his own teammates on both those plays. So you feel for Tank Dell. I'm expecting most of the ligaments to be basically torn. There has to be more than just a kneecap dislocation and torn ACL. There's probably way more that we don't know yet. But yeah, we'll talk about that game. Let's start off with last Thursday's game, Chargers and the Broncos. Really good game. Broncos early on, it really felt like they could do anything that they wanted to, scoring on their first 3 drives, running the ball, which is not a strength of theirs. And they jumped out to a 21-10 lead in the first half. And it really felt like one of those Justin Herbert games where I would have to come on here again and defend Herbert, especially after that first half interception in the red zone. It really felt like, well, I'm probably going to come back on here and try to talk Luke into thinking Herbert is a better caliber quarterback than he is. I'm not saying you're low on him, but I think we have different levels of how we think about him. But then second half, they come back, they win the game. Justin Herbert throws for almost 300 yards, 23 of 30. Really carries the Chargers in that game, despite his first half interception. Broncos, now the Broncos, they have a pretty tough. It looked like that they were for sure playoff team, but now you have to host or go to Cincinnati and then host the Chiefs, who knows if the Chiefs will be playing their stars in that game, depending on the outcome of this week's game. But what was your main takeaway from this game, and are you confident the Broncos are still a playoff team?
Oh yeah, I'm not. Broncos are still a better team than the Bengals.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that everyone's really, I know looking ahead, but I mean, they had the Chargers. Chargers came back. Herbert was really good. He made some great plays. But I still feel good about the Broncos. They faced a Bengals team who had 17 points for the most part against the Browns. Just the Bengals aren't that impressive. Honestly, I don't know how all the tiebreakers work, but I don't know if Colts or Dolphins are going to lose either. And that could really make stuff interesting. Because you just don't know. I mean, I think everyone's talking about the Bengals. But really, I need to look at the tiebreakers because Miami and the Colts are ahead of them right now. And it could turn into anything. But I still feel confident. Broncos got 2 games, win one against a Bengals team that it will be a major game, but I still think they're the better team. And then the Chiefs team who could have Carson Wentz playing, and it could just be a whole bunch of backups, even though I wouldn't expect full backups, but almost beat the Chiefs last time.
It'll be the key players that are out. Like Chris Jones, he's battling with injury. I expect him to be out of that game if the Chiefs win this week. Mahomes will be out. I think Kelsey will be out. You got to keep Kelsey fresh as possible. Probably Kareem Hunt out. Maybe play Pacheco just to give him a little bit momentum.
I think he'd play Marquise Brown.
Yeah, get them a little bit of rhythm.
I mean, Chiefs have to beat the Steelers, and We don't know. That's an interesting game if Pickens plays. But
and Chris Jones is out. I mean, we don't know if Chris Jones is going to play in that game either.
I still give me the Broncos are still my pick to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not. This isn't like a man overboard where I don't think the Broncos will miss the playoffs. Now, I don't think it's a certainty anymore. I don't think it's a guarantee anymore, especially now they have to face the Bengals, who I know they only scored 17 points, but any given day, Burrow, Chase, and Higgins can blow up a scoreboard. So it's really if the Broncos can keep up with them. Because the Chargers in this game, I know we have, like, right now, the tier 1 quarterbacks for sure are Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Lamar. Now, I would put Herbert right on the cusp of that. He's probably right. I have him as a 5th best quarterback in the league. I don't know where you have him, but
I've said 5th best quarterback since the start of the year.
Okay.
Well, you keep acting like I don't say that. I do say.
I'm not. I'm not saying that. I just forgot where you had him exactly. I know where I had him, but I do think if he wins a playoff game, I do think he enters that tier. Now, you may disagree with that. You may not. I would put him in that tier. For me, the Chargers right now, so they're locked in. They're not going to be the 7th seed because they have they're not going to lose. I think they're going to go 2-0 in these next 2 games. They have Patriots and then the Raiders. I don't expect them to lose either of those games, and they would have to lose both of those games, and the Broncos would have to win both for that seeding to change because they have a 2-0 record against the Broncos. I was thinking about it earlier today. The Chargers, so right now they're a 6 seed, and I was looking at right now Pittsburgh technically has a 3 seed, but I don't expect them to finish the season as a 3 seed. I think Baltimore gets in there. So I was kind of thinking about the Chargers' perspective of, Herbert trying to get that first playoff win. And I kind of made a list of opponents that they would play from 1 to most wanting to play to least wanting to play. And so the 3 teams that they are most likely going to, it'll be one of these 3 teams in the first round is Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and the Texans. And they could potentially get to that 5 seed because Pittsburgh, I think, has 1 game on the Chargers right now, if I remember it right. And Pittsburgh, they could lose both games. They really could.
Yeah, they could.
Chiefs are playing for a 1 seed. The Bengals at that point could be fighting for their playoff lives if they beat the Broncos. If they lose both those games and Chargers win both of their games, Chargers would be the 5 seed. And Texans are locked into the 4. So I think from a Chargers perspective, I think they would most want to face Texans, then the Steelers, and then the Ravens. I think the Ravens they do not want to face by any means, especially in Baltimore. I don't think they particularly match up well with the Ravens. Ravens have a poor secondary, but Chargers do not have the weaponry to expose that secondary by any means.
Yeah, I would say Texans is 1. I guess I agree with the order, even though I still don't think that Steelers is this game. I mean, once they get Pickens back, that's tough again because they.
Well, I'm not saying that.
I know. I'm just saying, but the Steelers is not easy, and also the fact that you said Herbert wins 1 playoff game, he's on the same tier as 3-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time MVP. Josh Allen, 2 AFC title game appearances, probable MVP. Joe Burrow, play away from winning Super Bowl. Lamar out. Jackson, AFC title game appearance, 2-time MVP. Herbert has a lot until he's on their tier. Come on. He cannot just beat the Texans and then he's on the same tier as those guys who 3 of the 4 would have MVPs and Burrow would be a play away from having a Super Bowl MVP. That's ridiculous, Logan. He does not get to beat the Texans or Russell Wilson and get to be on their tier. That's no.
I don't know. I've heard you talk highly about Pittsburgh possibly being like a really good.
That doesn't matter. You don't get to win. You don't get to win one game. You don't get to win one playoff game.
Tier.
But he's just not on the same tier as those guys. When you're talking about 3 MVPs, because assuming Josh Allen wins MVP, and he's been to 2 title games, has almost outdueled Mahomes in 1, barely missed out. Mahomes is just the best. Allen, I think at this point is just the 2nd best, and then you can argue about Burrow, Jackson. You can't make an argument for Herbert being better than any of them, so he's not.
I would have him on the same tier, but he would be the worst on the tier.
But if you can't make an argument for him being better than the others, he's not on that tier.
So
he's on his own little tier. Yeah,
and okay. So that's why I'm saying we disagree.
But I think that's ridiculous for a player to win 1 playoff game, and all of a sudden he's on the same tier.
The main knock on him is to win. It has been winning
But you don't win one.
Oh, okay. And Lamar has.
We're talking about MVP. Yeah, he has two MVPs.
Yes. Okay, but like,
Logan,
I know the MVPs are big deal, but like if he has one playoff win compared to Lamar's two, I do think you could put him in that.
Lamar went to a title game.
I understand that, but like I also think the Chargers.
You don't. Logan, 2 MVPs is massive. You're like, oh, it's just like he's not performing. Yeah, I know the playoff thing. 2 MVPs is massive.
You can have Herbert tiers within a tier.
Herbert.
I'm not saying that he's.
You can't.
I'm not saying that he's better than, or you can make an argument that he's better.
There's not a first tier and then a second part of the first tier. He's just not on that first tier until he does something big. He doesn't have a single big thing he's done. The others have done huge things.
I understand that.
But that's why I was a playoff win. That's not how it works, Logan. Jordan Love and Stroud are way closer to Herbert than Herbert is to Lamar.
I think
there's a chance Love is better than Herbert. I'm not there yet, but I'm saying it's a possibility.
I wouldn't say that because I wouldn't say it because the thing, like I was about to bring it up, Herbert, no run game, and you like J.K. Dobbins. I don't think is all worldly running back, but he's been out, and the running game there's no running game.
His game by game ceiling is higher than Jordan Love, but Jordan Love has a dog.
No, okay. But here's the thing. My thing is, the supporting cast around the two quarterbacks is dramatically different. Even with CJ Stroud is dramatically different. Okay, I know the offensive line's not great.
Again, that's not the point. It's that he's
if you put a Herbert on the Packers, I don't think that
he's
would not
closer
less
to Jordan Love and CJ Stroud than he is to any of those four. He's not. He's much closer to those two players who've actually won playoff games. Those two have won playoff games. He's closer to them than he is to the top four. He's done nothing except have good regular seasons. He hasn't had all-time regular seasons. He hasn't won an MVP.
His rookie season, all-time rookie season.
Okay, his all-time rookie season, not an all-time season.
Still a season.
Okay, but it's not all-time season. All-time rookie season is different. Lamar has had all-time seasons. Allen, just watch him, all-time season. Mahomes has all-time season. Mahomes, Super Bowls. Burrow, they're not, Logan, he's not close. Now, if he beats Texans and then beats like the Ravens or whoever, and then you can like make an argument. But you cannot make an argument if he beats the Texans that he's on the same tier. Accomplishments have to mean something.
Yeah. Well, okay. So 2020 is his rookie year, and we can move on after like make a couple more points about this because I do want to move on to our other games. 2020 had almost 4,400 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, and 10 picks. That's not. I want to say it's all-time season, but I would say that's a pretty good year.
When did I say it's not a good year?
And then the next year was 38 touchdowns, 15 picks, 5,000 passing yards.
Yeah, but were we saying that Matt Ryan and Matthew Stafford were in the same tier as Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Big Ben? No, we weren't.
And we just got into side tangents there. I do think with the Chargers in general, I do think they're a year away from being. Okay. Can I just make? I'm not even making.
Let him do it. Let him do it. You're overreaching. Okay. Let him do it. I don't know.
Okay. But the thing is, like, if they win 11 games this year, and let's say they win one playoff game, I do think they're a year away from actually being a very.
What does that have to do with him on the same tier as 4 dudes who have done?
Okay, did you not see the point I just made before that? I said I'm not trying to make the argument anymore. I heard your points. We disagree. I say we disagreed before I made my point. My thing is now the Chargers, I believe, with a few additions this offseason, because they need another receiver.
Well, yeah,
Lamicon can't be your one. He's a small slot receiver.
He can be your one. Size. He can be your one.
Oh, he'd be your one, but you need somebody. You need somebody on the outside. Quinn Johnson's not dependable. I know he has 8 touchdowns this year, but he's dropped. He had another crucial drop in this game that could have cost the Chargers late in that game, but they overcame it and delivered on a touchdown drive to put the game away. And they need a running game. Like Gus Edwards, I know he had 66 yards on how many carries was it? Was it like 15 or something like that? Or like it was like he ran for a 43-yard run. So he had like 14 carries for like 23 yards other than that run. They don't really have a running game. Passing game you can't really trust because the weapons are just kind of pedestrian at this point. But I do think, like if I'm them, I go after T. Higgins this offseason. And they have the cap space to do it. Maybe the Patriots just overpay him by a lot. We've seen reports that Patriots are going to do that. So maybe you don't get to Higgins, but I would go after I would do something in free agency or in the draft. Go hard in on the receiver.
I'd agree. You need a 2. I think Ladd could be your 1. There's nothing. Just because he's short doesn't mean he can't be a 1. Look at Cooper Kupp.
Okay, you need outside presence.
but he's also out. I literally think Lad McConkey is your 1. So I don't think you need to go all out and get a 1. You can go get a 2, but I don't know if you want to do that in the draft. I still feel like, I mean, I'm just calling my shot. They're going to draft Colston Loveland. I feel like you see that in a lot of mock drafts as well, so I'm not saying anything crazy. But yeah, they need another weapon. But you get Dobbins.
I mean, they're throwing Stone Smart, Will Disley, Hayden Hurst.
No, yeah.
It's not a great receiving core.
Yeah. I think they're going to get Loveland, but that's just, that's a popular pick, but it just seems so obvious.
And we'll move on to the next game after this. But my prediction for their first round pick is either a pass rusher or a receiver. That's where I think they go. Because Joey Bosa, I think you're going to move on from, and Khalil Mack, you could arguably move on from. But Bosa, you save a lot of money.
No, yeah, you got to move on.
So I do think that Jim Harbaugh values the trenches on both sides of the ball. So I could definitely see pass rusher being their first round pick. And that's why I believe that they may go into the free agency market for an established receiver rather than the drafting one. They drafted Quentin Johnson first round 2 years ago, and they drafted Lad McConkey second round. So
I'd have to look at the receivers because I think they would prefer to go free agent veteran receiver.
Well, that and I believe that too. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards that.
But I don't think you're gonna Keenan Allen would be nice to get back, but now he's kind of playing well.
So,
but
I'm looking at mock draft right now. Keenan Allen could be.
Yeah, Amari Cooper maybe. Who knows?
Marquise Brown.
I want some of it. Chris Godwin, but I feel like a lot of these guys I just feel like they're staying. And then there's not a ton of great stuff going on.
So I'm looking at his mock draft right now. On Tankathon, they have Penn State tight end Tyler Warren going to the Chargers. So it's kind of along the same thought process that you're going. But I mean, I think that'd be a home run. If he's there I think they're pick 20 right now. I mean, I think that'd be a pretty good. I prefer Warren over, and we're kind of jumping the gun on 2025 draft, but I prefer Warren over.
Well, I'm just saying Loveland because he has the Michigan connection.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
He's their leading receiver when they couldn't pass the ball at all this year, so that's why I'm saying that.
Let's move on to another AFC West team. Kansas City Chiefs take on the Houston Texans. We were at this game. When you're at a football game, you see this is probably an obvious statement, but you actually see way more. Like you see the routes developing, you see receivers actually being open. Like when you're watching on TV, there's only so much far down the field you can see, so you don't even know like when the receivers get open, all that. So watching the game in person kind of gives you an appreciation for like how these quarterbacks kind of can diagnose defense and recognize when these receivers get open. But Chiefs beat the Texans 27-19. I thought I think this is the best game the Chiefs have played all year since week 1 when they beat Baltimore, when they were fully healthy outside Marquise Brown, but you had Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy was playing well that game. This is the best the offense has looked. And I don't think Marquise Brown's like the superstar receiver, but it does look like he unlocks something in the offense. I don't know exactly what, but it looked like they unlocked something in this past week with Marquise Brown coming back.
The offense is, this is the best I felt about the offense as a Chiefs fan since Rashee Rice got hurt. I don't think it's going to be killing stuff, but it's going to be, Hopkins is solid. Marquise Brown looks solid. Worthy is looking better. Running game, the Hunt and Pacheco just need one to play well. Kelsey, we'll see if he picks it up for playoffs. So, the offense of weapons are now good enough where I don't think if everyone stays healthy, there shouldn't be any problem with the weapons, even though you don't have a superstar. You should be fine. The tackles played pretty solid, but there's issues. But it was a really good pass rush duo. I still think the concern with the Chiefs is number 2 corner. We saw Tank Dell, who we've experienced in fantasy before his very sad injury, was torching the Chiefs, and he has been bad. Like he was before this game. Tank Dell, I have him fantasy teams. I kept playing him, kept thinking this was going to be the week, and he was not good this year.
And he suffered a broken, was it tibia or fibula last year?
I don't know, but that's not the point. So he just hasn't been good. And then he drops 98 yards and a touchdown, and he got hurt was it early or mid third quarter?
It was early, it was their first drive of the third quarter. They tied the game, or they scored the touchdown to presumably tie the game, but they missed extra point.
Yeah. So and he's done nothing all year. And McDuffie's still stud. So corner 1 is awesome, but besides that, the Chiefs secondary is not great. And I do think that's still a concern. Like when you face Buffalo and Josh Allen's just picking who he goes to, where McDuffie can be guarding Shakir, Cooper, whatever, but the other ones. So that's still a concern, but I do feel a lot better about the Chiefs now than I did previously. But that concern is I don't think it's being talked about enough because I think everyone's focusing on the tackles, which makes sense. But Tooney's playing left tackle, and that's kind of fixed that. So, I still feel really good. I think it's still Chiefs or Bills.
Yeah, and I think really the Bills are the only team that actually scare me. I know Baltimore is there, but Baltimore has not proven that they could beat the Chiefs in the big spots. So until they do it, they're not going to worry me that much. Pittsburgh, I think they have limitations offensively. Great defense, I just don't know. And Joey Porter got hurt in that game. I don't know what his stats will be for Wednesday, but that's a quick turnaround, obviously. Yeah, the Bills for me, and then Bengals if they get in. Bengals, if they get in and they face the Bills in the first round, I think Bills would win that game. But I do think that'd be a very interesting. I think that'd be a closer game than people like. I know Bengals would be pretty bad, and so people may just pick Buffalo. But Buffalo's defense has not been great, and Bengals can torch anybody. So I do think that'd be an interesting game. But as you said, Bills are probably they're the only team I feel like that can expose the Chiefs cornerback 2 weakness. Like, because you have so many different guys you could throw to. Like Baltimore. You have Zay Flowers, who's really good, and then Bateman's kind of hit or miss.
Bateman could do stuff, but yeah, I agree. He's not. Yeah. You can't rely on him to do it.
Yeah. And the Chiefs kind of lock up Mark Andrews. They kind of have a system. They just kind of bracket him, double team him, force Lamar to go somewhere else with the ball. Isaiah Likely's a good, solid weapon. But yeah, I think the Chiefs and Bills are clearly the 1 and 2 in the AFC, whatever order you want to put them in.
I do think it is weird how if you look at the wide receiver 2s in the AFC, so Bills their 1 is Shakir, and then their number 2 is whoever steps up, and it works with Allen. So like, yeah,
well, it's versatile.
They can do whatever. But Pittsburgh, it's Calvin Austin / Mike Williams. Mike Williams not been that great. No. He did help them win that one game. Houston, now it's John Mechie or Hutchinson, whoever it is. Yeah. Baltimore, Rashad Bateman is honestly probably the best wide receiver 2. He always shows potential in big plays, but he's not like.
And he always gets hurt too. Like, you never know.
Him to get like 6 catches for 80 yards. Mm-hmm. Chargers number 2 is Johnston. We know that. Denver's number 2 is I don't even know who their number 2 is.
Mims, Vele. I mean, it's just
Well, wide receiver 3 is the 2 spot. Vele is second on the team in yards, and he's only played 11 games, so it's Vele. And then Cincinnati would be a hypothetical like got to guard Higgins. Miami hypothetically if they make it. Have
but guard Waddle,
but they can make it. That's just I'm saying wide receiver 2s. And then Colts wide receiver 2s are Colts have solid wide receiver 2s. So honestly, the 3 teams who are outside the wild card right now have all the best wide receiver 2 situations, which is funny.
Yeah, and like I know you mentioned Miami just doesn't scare me, and I don't think Waddle may not even be healthy in this hypothetical. I don't know, like
they're only like. Where they get super lucky and like play the Chiefs is that it's been pretty warm here in KC, but I still wouldn't be scared. But it has been a little warmer.
Yeah, and as for Houston, I mean, they're limping into the playoffs, literally and figuratively at this point. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Ward's out for the year. Shaq Mason suffered an injury, another injury to the interior offensive line, which was already one of the worst units in the league.
Yeah,
the Texans feel like a classic, just one and done team in the playoffs. I think they lose to whoever the 5 seed is.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I think there's nothing unique to say about it. Everyone kind of has the same opinion.
Yeah, and like Bobby Slovic last year, it was him and Ben Johnson. They were viewed as like the next potential head coaches, offensive minds. Bobby Slovic's kind of fallen off this year. The play calling has not been as good. And I know they've had injuries throughout the season, but play calling has not been as good. It just has not.
Yeah, it hasn't. But I mean, like you still had a good run game early on. Dell just isn't the same, and. Now that dude just had bad luck. Nico's been hurt. O-line's been a mess. So, yeah, he's probably going to have to wait a year, bounce back to get some head coaching opportunities.
We'll pivot to the NFC East showdown, the Eagles and the Commanders. I mean, early on, it really felt like Eagles were going to run away with this game. Saquon Barkley had over 100 rushing yards in the first quarter. I think he had 106 rushing yards in the first quarter alone. Mm-hmm. They jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Jalen Hurts gets hurt. Concussed. only completed one pass for 11 yards in this one. And I mean, the Eagles forced 6 total turnovers if you include the turnover on downs, and they lose this game 36-33. Jane Daniels was it 5 combined touchdowns, or was all of them throwing?
He threw all 5. Did they run for 1? He threw 5, yeah, and they
threw 5. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to panic about the Eagles because I think if Hurts doesn't get hurt, they win this game pretty soundly. I mean, they were up 14-0, 21-7 at different points in the game. I mean, Commanders,
I don't even think Pickett played bad.
No, I don't think Pickett played bad either. I think he was pretty solid when he came in. I mean, there's always missed throws. Devontae Smith, I mean, to be honest, I mean, people are probably going to rip on Pickett and say, like, oh, they lost because they didn't play Pickett. But Devontae Smith dropped a wide-open game-winning first down. Dropped it. It was Ryan Stroud. He dropped it. If he catches that, totally different landscape of this game.
Yeah, just a normal slant.
The 1 seed's probably out of grasp now for the Eagles, barring, Lions losing their last 2 games, which I don't expect to happen, or the Minnesota loses the last 2 games, which we'll see. I mean, they have the Packers and the Lions. That'd be pretty interesting. But I mean, even if the thing is, they have to overcome one of those 2 teams.
Yeah.
Commanders, I mean, I think they're pretty much a lock for the playoffs. I know mathematically Seattle and Tampa are one of the NFC South teams can get in, but it kind of feels like Commanders are going to get that last spot. I'm not too worried about them. Like, I'm more confident they make playoffs than the Broncos at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if they lose against Atlanta and Tampa wins, but then you got Dallas, and Dallas has kind of been playing spoiler.
And that game will be in Dallas, by the way.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy is kind of like, he's probably going to return. But say what you want about Mike McCarthy. He's coaching some pretty solid football, and they've already beat Washington. So that I think that game is so impactful, so many areas. So they're not a lock either, but I still feel like I would pick them to win one of the 2. And I think Tampa and Atlanta would have to win their last 2. But I did look, if they're all 10-7, Washington is out of the playoffs. So
is that based on what?
Oh, I forgot if they even included Seattle in it. It was just I picked games. I think I had Seattle not as 10-7. I don't know.
Did Washington play both? Did they play NFC South this year? Yeah, they did. So they also played Tampa Bay as well.
And they
lost. That why they would be? And they lost. Okay, so that's why they'd be out. Okay.
So I don't know what would happen if, like, let's say hypothetically Rams beat Cardinals, Seahawks win their last 2, Washington loses their last. I don't know what would happen if we have Rams at 10-7, Seattle 10-7, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, and Washington all at 10-7. I don't know what happens there. I'd have to look. But Washington, yeah, I felt Daniel's so good. I feel so good about this QB rookie draft. On Philly side, it didn't change anything to how I feel about them.
I still think like now theoretically the division's in question, but they're not going to lose to the Giants. They may lose to Cowboys if like Pickett has to play, but I still think they can beat the Cowboys at home with Pickett. And then Giants, I don't see them losing Giants at all. So I don't have any concerns about the Eagles,
You did lose the 1 seed possibilities, and that hurt.
one seed is gone. Yes, 1 seed is basically
so
gone.
I think I don't know if they have the tiebreaker over Minnesota, so I'm just like spitballing. But would they want Lions to somehow lose to San Fran, Vikings lose the Packers, and then Vikings beat Lions? I don't even know if that'd work though.
I mean,
or you want them to tie, but that's
yeah. I mean, I think the 1 seed's just pretty much gone, but I'm not too worried about. That it doesn't really change my thought process about the Eagles at all. I still think I don't trust the Eagles in the playoffs, but as a division winning standpoint, I'm not too worried about the Eagles at all. Now, Hurts may not play this week. Concussions are always weird. Some players progress really well. Some players it takes a while to actually get over the concussion protocol. So we'll have to see about his status. I mean, it's only Monday, but we're doing this recording because we have games in 2 days, which with pick games. So it's only Monday, Christmas. Like I said. So so we don't know what his stats will be in 2-3 days. So, but yeah, I think both these teams, I think are, of course, firmly playoff teams. I do think it'd be interesting if they matched up the playoffs game again. I do think Eagles, though, I mean, at home in that game.
Yeah,
this game was gonna be a blowout. I think if Hurts doesn't get hurt.
I agree.
Last game we'll talk about Vikings and the Seahawks. I mean, this game was really I mean, early on, it really looked like Vikings were going to run away with it. I believe they're up 17-7 early on.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And the Seahawks, they've done this all year where they just stay in games, even if they're overmatched. Like, you can be either a Seattle believer or a non-Seattle believer. They're always in these games.
Yeah.
Geno Smith interceptions are different than any other quarterback's interceptions, really. They're just really bad.
Like
when he throws an interception,
he's like Jameis, more consistent.
Oh, but I trust Geno way more than Jameis.
Well, yeah, that's why I said more consistent.
But like Geno, I mean, he should have thrown another pick yesterday. It was dropped by, I forgot who it was dropped by, but it was in the red zone to DK Metcalf, and I think it was just a miscommunication or something. But Seattle, I don't think they'll make the playoffs. I think Rams are going to end up winning that division, and I think the only way Seattle gets in the playoffs is winning the division. I mean, Vikings continue. I think the storyline in this game, Sam Darnold, he threw the game-winning touchdown to Justin Jefferson when they were down by 4.
Great throw.
Actually, after Geno Smith actually delivered on a really good game-leading drive to put them up 24-20, Sam Darnold responded right away with the game-winning drive. I mean, Vikings, I didn't have them as a playoff team, obviously, this year. We had our bet. And midway through the season, it looked like Sam Darnold was kind of returning back to his form of turnover-prone quarterback, can't really trust. And I thought that's when the Vikings were going to start falling. It was that game against the Jaguars, I believe, where I don't think they scored. Did they score a single touchdown? I don't know if they scored a single. I know that they had like 5 red zone trips or 4 red zone trips that ended in no points, and I thought that's when they were going to fall. I mean, right now, are they the best position team in the NFC just based on health? Even if they don't get the 1 seed, but just because they're more healthy than the Lions, and they probably are playing the best football right now.
I think it's the Packers right now. I do think it's the Packers because their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games, they're 8-2, and just their 2 losses, they're just Lions, but a healthy Lions. Well, the second game was a somewhat healthy Lions. They were not healthy. Lions just beat them. But I do think my top 3 teams are all the NFC North teams, and if I had to rank them to most likely win the Super Bowl in this or go Super Bowl in the NFC, I put Packers 1, Lions 2, Vikings 3, but they're all really close. But yeah, they look good. I really think that this game, my takeaway was Sam Darnold can win in the playoffs, and I would really start considering the trade J.J. McCarthy piece. I would consider it. I feel like it could mess up a locker room if you move on from Sam Darnold. Then JJ next year they start like 2-3 and he doesn't look good. Yeah, it's a weirdly tough call that you're happy you have, at the same time you're like you usually just don't want to have to make this call. But I think it's so interesting what they're going to do. My prediction is they trade JJ McCarthy.
See, I was thinking about it today. And initially, I was just on the side of don't pay Darnold. He's going to get overpaid by somebody. But now, here's what I think happens. And here's what I think they should do as well. I would sign Darnold to like a 2-3 year deal. And McCarthy, he has a meniscus injury. I know he looked really good in the preseason, but preseason is a lot different than the regular season. And I'm not trying to say he won't be good. But I do think he's a raw prospect, really young. He's only 21. He's one of the youngest prospects in the draft, I believe.
Yeah.
We didn't really see him carry an offense at Michigan. He wasn't really asked to do a lot. He was asked to manage a game. What I would do, and what I think is going to happen, is the Vikings are going to sign Darnold to a 2 to 3 year deal. Most likely, I think 2. You have J.J. McCarthy sit for another year or 2. If Darnold struggles next year, like if he regresses back to the mean of what he was, you then can insert J.J. McCarthy in. And why I think it's a 2 year deal, if that happens, then you can make it to the second year. You can move off Darnold if that's the case. So I think they signed Darnold to a 2 year deal and they let J.J. McCarthy sit. That's my prediction of how this plays out.
That's not a bad prediction, but I feel like Sam wants 4, and that's kind of what's being reported.
I mean,
he hasn't had the big deal yet.
Baker got 3 year deal. I think these type of quarterbacks, I don't think you can give him a 4 year deal. I think the max he gets is a 3.
But now we're looking like Tampa should have signed him to a 4 year deal. Now, because now they're gonna have to like probably pay him this offseason or next already. It's like, man,
they won't pay him this offseason. It'll be next if they choose to pay him. It won't be this offseason.
I don't know. Here's the thing though, because like there's the Rodgers Jordan Love thing, which I think worked out great. You kept Rodgers. You had a chance at Super Bowl again. It didn't happen, but you were there, and Love got to develop. But Darnold's 27. He can be your quarterback for a decade, and I feel like if obviously we don't know how negotiations work, but just in my head, if you go to Darnold now and you're like, hey, 4 years, 160. We helped bring you up. We helped bring you back. So you don't get to ask for 50. You have to do it before he can talk to other teams. Just like 4 years, 160. We'll guarantee 100. And something like that, I don't know. But just like take a little bit of a discount from what like maybe like the Titans would pay you or something, or just like Seattle, something like that, like what they would pay you. If you can get that, and then let's say the Raiders now. I think we're gonna talk about that.
He would be a moron to go to the Raiders.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You didn't let me finish. Let's say the Raiders are now not gonna be able to get Shedeur or Cam Ward, and you do like they're like the 6th pick, and you swap like pick 27 for pick 6, and you also get like their 3rd round pick for JJ McCarthy. I don't know.
I think it's going to be like the Geno Smith thing where he's played great this year, but let's see if he can do it for another year.
Different.
That's why
this is different than Geno Smith, man.
Well, no, he's
better.
Playing
they have 2 losses.
No, I think
he was the 3rd pick.
I think it's going to get a 2-year, $84 million deal. They're going to front load it.
I don't think he's taking 2. I think because if he goes on the market, he's getting $42 million
a year at Sam Darnold. He's going to take that.
But I think he's going to be able to get 4 years.
Here's another thing. Here's
the market. I think the open market, though, you're getting the 4 years.
From the open market perspective, yeah, sure. Maybe I think 4 years is a stretch, but maybe that happens. But for Darnold, from his perspective, is he really going to want to leave this situation for $3 more million a year or more money?
But 2 years is a major difference. I think that's.
I think a 2.
I think you got to give him 4. Give him 4 and say, hey, take a little less than you could on the open market. Because who knows? Teams are desperate. A team may drop like 50 mil at him. Like teams are desperate.
At this point, you can't. I think Darnold. There's too much backing in the locker room. Too much success with these current teammates. I do think he's the quarterback next year, but could I see it kind of fall off a bit? And they kind of struck like. They've won every, and I know the Chiefs are the same thing, but it's a Chiefs, so it's different. They've won every 1-score game, and we've seen that with Minnesota in the past with Kirk Cousins. They went 13-4 that 1 year, winning all these close games. I think they were 9-0 in close games or something like that, or one possession games, and then the following year they fell off. I do not think,
but maybe this is Darnold, different though. The defense is now legit.
Defense has not been as good as it was early in the year,
but it's still legit.
And who knows what if and defense coordinator's name's slipping my mind.
Flores is not going to get a head coach.
I don't think he'll get a head coaching job, but like if he does, I mean, who knows what happens. But
you just can't let him on the open market though.
I think for JJ McCarthy, like I think they're going to keep JJ McCarthy. They invested a top 10 pick in him. They traded up for him. I don't see them moving off of him because of one good Sam and a great Sam Darnold season. But I don't see them moving off a 21-year-old quarterback who they clearly believe in. I don't see that happening. I see them.
If the Niners would have moved off Lance.
Well, yeah, but they got lucky and nailed the last pick of the draft. I think JJ McCarthy. You can have and we've seen this also as well. I haven't brought this up yet, but Darnold's been hurt. There's been a lot of times he's been hurt. I think JJ McCarthy's a solid backup for next year. I would not move off, and I'm not even like the biggest McCarthy guy. Like I'm not. Like I think. Like I'm not that.
But what if you can get the 6th pick in the draft?
It's not a deep draft. You may want one of those. I don't think you're gonna get the high of a pick.
I don't know. What if the Raiders love him? What if, let's say, I'm trying to think of who the Raiders could hire. Who's an offensive coach who's not Ben Johnson?
But and this may be the wrong thought process. But does an asset like McCarthy or like any asset that you draft outside of like Jay, like any like superstar quarterback, because we don't know what JJ McCarthy is honestly. Mm-hmm. Does he instantly lose value?
That's why
I don't think you would get a first.
But no, this would be where you give up the 27th pick and you get the 6th pick and you also get like their 3rd. So you're giving up a first and to get a higher first.
I think it would be foolish for them to give up McCarthy.
There's a lot of teams. Okay, just looking at teams. There's 2 quarterbacks who, like, if Milroe is a first-round pick, I'm gonna lose my mind. And I liked Milroe. There's still mock drafts. which is I find insane. But you're looking at teams like the Titans could want a quarterback. The Giants are going to need a quarterback. The Rams, who knows, they may want to switch gears. Colts don't know. Steelers may want to go someone younger. Steelers, J.J. McCarthy wouldn't be bad, by the way. If they said Russell Wilson, you did good, but let's move on. Jets going to need one. Who else is further down this list? Seahawks could need one. Browns could need one. Saints could need one. And then there's a lot of teams, and there's 2 rookie quarterbacks, and then the free agent quarterbacks or the 2 available quarterbacks who are not rookies are kind of the 2 guys the Vikings have, and they may pick one and then get a. I don't know. I feel like you can leverage.
I feel like the Vikings. I mean, I don't know. I do not think Darnold's like this long term for. I don't know if he's gonna keep this up for 4 years. And you're also I also think you're also paying Justin Jefferson's currently the highest paid receiver. You may pay Darrisaw down the road.
But if you have your quarterback, you have your quarterback.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think they keep Darnold for 2-3 years, and I think that they may shift to McCarthy. I would not.
I'm just saying what you could take. You could win a Super Bowl now. It's the Jordan Love argument again, but McCarthy may have more value, and you can go get a corner and a Will Johnson from Michigan, trade McCarthy. That'd be funny. Trade McCarthy and
here's the thing, from a Vikings perspective, when they draft McCarthy, they believe. I know, but they believe that they have a franchise quarterback. If they believe that, they are not trading a franchise quarterback for a corner.
But what if they think they? But what if they think they have their franchise quarterback? And Will Johnson could be a top corner in this league. That dude's a stud. And you're so close because you have your weapons on offense are good. Your O-line's good.
We're seeing with the Falcons. They kind of hedged their Kirk Cousins thing.
But that's different.
I would not go all in on Sam Darnold.
I don't think they hedged Kirk Cousins. I don't think they hedged Kirk Cousins. I think they like Kirk Cousins. And then they just also evaluate Penix as wait, we want this guy. I think that's what happened. I don't think they were planning. It does not sound like they were planning to take Penix when they signed Kirk Cousins. Maybe you could franchise Darnold and then trade him for something like that, to the Raiders. And that could also work where it's the same type of thing I just said. Who knows? It depends a lot on how they do in the playoffs because let's say they barely beat Atlanta and then they get whooped by Lions.
What happens if they're one and done? What do you think happens?
Well, yeah, the thing is, if they're one and done, you're probably facing Atlanta or Tampa. And if you're one and done, if Michael Penix goes and beats you, or Baker Mayfield
and Penix looks pretty good. I know if you look
Giants,
at stats,
but I don't think he'd go and beat Minnesota, which would be wild if Kirk Cousins' replacement goes and beats Minnesota in a playoff game.
Yeah, wins the division.
Could you imagine Penix gets hurt mid-game, Kirk Cousins comes in and beats Minnesota? That'd be nuts.
Kirk Cousins ain't doing crap.
He could. He had moments.
Moments from week 3.
Yeah, I think his body broke down on this year and stuff just went awry. People have years where they go awry. Larry, look who we're talking about, Sam Darnold.
Let's move. We've been talking about. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think Kirk Cousins next year, if Falcons cut him, can still be a starter somewhere. I don't think he's this high in demand, but he can do what Russell Wilson did this year.
Well, he's going to be cut. Nobody's going to trade for that.
No, they said they may keep him as a backup if he says he's okay with it.
I think that's all talk not to keep him committed, but I think that's just all talk. I don't buy that at all.
Because the thing is, Kirk Cousins is a guy who I could see it.
If you can say they've already identified that they made a mistake with that contract, there's no point of keeping $180 million quarterback. A backup, $180 million backup quarterback is
okay. I think you're wrong. Because Kirk.
We thought the same thing about Deshaun Watson. It's the same thing.
Deshaun Watson's completely different. We're talking about Kirk Cousins, who great guy, who you could just keep him. Maybe mid-year you could trade him because people get hurt. And if Kirk Cousins is willing to do it and he knows he's the backup, I'm fine with it because you're not.
I think they're going to.
You're not saving money. It's Kirk Cousins' call, I think, not the Falcons.
No, but his guaranteed money money becomes guaranteed after March 10th, I believe. And so you come before then and then allocate that money to positions of need.
Yeah, but
Michael Penix on a rookie contract.
It's not a lot of money that's getting guaranteed. I think it's $13 million. It's
Okay, but then you're also saving money. You're also getting out before 2026.
No, I know,
money
but you can also just have a really good backup if he wants to stay there.
I think they're going to cut him. I don't see him returning
that's
for
what I
him.
guess.
And I don't think. I think
if
keeping him as a
Kirk
backup
Cousins,
is
if
not
if Kirk Cousins says I will stay as backup, and I'm not going to be like jealous of Michael Penix or anything, and I'll just stay as backup, I think you'd keep him as backup, and he could still teach Penix a lot. I'd keep him if he wants to.
Let's move on to the 2025 draft outlook after this week. And we weren't really going to talk about this, but the Jacksonville Raiders game, that it really shifted the top of the draft board. Raiders were at the second overall pick before this week. They're now at 6. They're pretty much out of the quarterback, market in the draft as we speak. Now that can change, of course, with results, but the loss or the win was actually a bad result for the Raiders. And I know the players are not going to want to lose games, but the loss was actually very bad for their future outlook and playing quarterback in this draft.
And I bet Antonio Pierce gets fired anyways.
He should get fired. He should have never been hired in the first place.
Yeah, he probably shouldn't have. It's probably the closest you could get to keeping an interim. And I mean, you had like your best player threatening to request a trade, and that really sucks.
Well, you know what? Then I'm gonna call the player's bluff.
Yeah, I agree. Unless it's the quarterback, you call the bluff.
Yeah, if you're gonna request a trade because I don't hire an interim coach, then okay, so be it.
Yeah, but so we're still looking at Jacksonville, or no, the first pick is Giants. And we're just gonna slot in quarterback. I'm guessing Ward. And he's kind of plus odds right now, and I kind of like it betting. But then the second pick, you got Patriots. Drake May. They're
going receiver. They're going Travis Hunter.
And then, did you have the rest of the draft order?
So I have it pulled up right now. I'm gonna press it real quick. My mouse is kind of acting up. The Jacksonville's 3. You have Tennessee 4. So like right now, Tennessee, they're kind of in a good position to get a quarterback right now because they're the 4th pick. Patriots already have their quarterback. Jacksonville just paid Trevor Lawrence.
Do you know who they play this week? They play Jacksonville.
Okay.
Yeah, that's huge.
And then like Cleveland, I think is a very interesting spot. They're at 5. I mean, could they take a quarterback if Tennessee, elects to pass on a quarterback?
What if Jacksonville loves Shedeur?
Okay, do you just want the most expensive backups in the league?
But what if you think Shedeur is the guy and you're done with Trevor?
If I'm Jacksonville.
I'm just saying hypothetically.
But here, if I'm Jacksonville, because Shedeur I think is a head case, and Trevor Lawrence, I think he has a talent. I think Trevor Lawrence could actually potentially turn around. They need to get better protection. They need to get defense, and most importantly, they need to get a good head coach in there. He's had poor coaching his entire career. Like Doug Pearson has always been a flash in the pan. First year he does well, and then after that everybody figures him out. Urban Meyer, we don't really have to get into. I don't even know how that guy has a job on TV. He's just a scumbag. He's had really no good head coaching, and so I think if you get him a good head coach, he needs protection. He's dealt with 2 injuries. You have Brian Thomas Jr. there. They're not drafting a quarterback.
I'm just saying hypothetically, if they're done with Trevor.
I don't think they are. They just gave him a huge contract.
No, but
with $200 million guaranteed.
Kirk Cousins
they are going to write. Okay, but that's different. That's a 37-year-old quarterback who is physically done. They're not going to go on Trevor Lawrence after giving him $200 million guaranteed. That's not going to happen. They're going to go offensive line. They're going to go offensive line, or I think defense. Maybe another pass rusher. You need another pass, or I guess you invested a high-end pick in pass rush, and you have Josh Allen as well. So probably secondary help, so like Will Johnson, like you said, or you trade back and accumulate picks. I think that's what they're going to do. Because there's
I wouldn't expect them to take quarterback. I just think it'd be interesting if they were liking Shedeur.
I think Cleveland and Tennessee are the 2 most interesting teams right now at the top of the draft. Because
Patriots could have all the power. Like second pick.
Well, if I'm Patriots, I don't know if I could pass on Travis Hunter.
I don't know if I could either.
Because the thing is, they are desperate.
I would want such a haul.
Okay, well, here's the thing. What if you sign T. Higgins and then get Travis Hunter? I mean, that's a really good receiving core already.
See, here's the thing about Travis Hunter, though. Okay, first off, Travis Hunter, I just don't think is playing 50 snaps a game at receiver. So I don't think you're drafting a receiver. You're drafting a corner who plays some receiver, and then it's important to know does the team determine that they're going to make him play one side? Because if he's playing let's say the Patriots are like, if we draft Hunter, he's only playing one side of the ball, then I wouldn't draft Travis Hunter as a second pick.
Well, if I'm Travis Hunter, I would play receiver. There's more money on that side. You can't get hit. You're going to get
better
markability.
He's already marketed fully.
Well, I know, but for receiver, I think
he loses all of his marketability if he only plays receiver.
I think he's going to play receiver primarily and situationally play corner.
No, I think it's reversed. Receiver's so much easier to play than corner. I don't think you could situationally play corner. That's like impossible in my eyes.
Or not situational, but I think he plays more receiver.
No, I don't think you can do that. I just don't. Has anyone ever played situational corner? No, they played situational.
I think in general he'll play more receiver.
No one's played part-time corner. No one's done it. They've played part-time receiver. They have not played part-time corner. I don't think you can play part-time corner. If you're a corner, you're playing all the snaps, and then you could play some offense. That's how I view it. I just don't. No one's played part-time corner or situational corner. If you're a corner, you're a corner. It's so tough. I don't think you can just play 20 snaps at corner and 60 at receiver. I think it's reversed.
Well, this may not be like the popular opinion, but I think he ends up playing receiver predominantly.
I just don't.
That's what I think.
I just don't think he's a top. I think he's like a fringe first round pick if he plays just receiver. But he's still really good receiver, but I don't think he's top dog receiver.
I don't know. I think he's pretty damn good at receiver, and I think
I just said first round.
But you said I don't think he's even.
If you're the second pick of the draft, though, and you're just playing receiver, you're Calvin Johnson. He's not Calvin Johnson receiver.
Is he arguably an undersized corner at the NFL level?
He's a great corner.
No, he's a great corner. But I'm saying like is his size more worrisome as a receiver or
but that's not. But we're going for the best. I'm not taking Travis Hunter to be a receiver at the second pick. I'm just not. If I'm taking Travis Hunter as second pick, it's because he's playing full-time corner and part-time receiver. There's no other situation where I'm taking Travis Hunter second pick.
It's definitely a polarizing conversation because I think you can ask.
There's been no one to play part-time corner and full-time receiver ever. So, it's been reversed though. I mean, Pat Pete played some receiver.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very
full-time
interesting conversation.
Dion, Dion's his coach. Well, wait, Dion's his guy. He's playing full-time corner.
I think it's an interesting conversation. I don't fall for anybody having either side of the opinion. Because I think he's really good on both sides of the ball. Like you say, fringe first round pick. I think he would still be
as a receiver if he's solely receiver.
No. If he's a receiver, I think he'd still be top 15, top 20. He's so you're telling me he'd be a potential second round pick?
I think he'd be a late first round pick. What makes him special is he can play both sides of the ball. He's not a top tier receiver. He's near top tier. He's not top tier receiver.
But in this,
I know it's a bad draft, but you're just not. He would not be ranked ahead of any of the top three last year. He probably wouldn't be ranked ahead of Brian Thomas.
Okay, but in this draft, he's the best receiver. I would take him over McMillan.
McMillan, I watched him once. I wasn't super impressed, but again, he was still productive in that game I saw in person.
I would take him over Luther Burden. I would take him over Ibuka. I think he'd still be the number one receiver.
I'm not taking him second pick. Then I'm just not taking a receiver with that pick, and I'm taking like Mason Graham out of Michigan or Will Johnson out of Michigan. I'm not taking a receiver just to take a receiver at the second pick, or I'm taking a tackle. If Travis Hunter is going to play receiver for you and you're taking him second pick, you're just. I think that's so stupid. He's a really good receiver. He's not second pick worthy. Marvin Harrison Jr. was an all-time prospect. He's picked fourth. Calvin Johnson, picked second. He's not Calvin Johnson.
Well, I don't think every receiver has to be the build of Calvin Johnson to be.
He's just not going to be as good as Calvin Johnson was at receiver.
Well, if that's what I'm basing off of, then
that's what you're doing when it's the second pick of the draft.
In a weak class like this, I'm totally fine taking him second overall play receiver.
No, but you're not. Then just take a good player who's a D lineman or a tackle. A receiver at 2 who's not going to be all-time receiver? No. I just couldn't. There's no logic in my brain that makes that work.
Any other storylines you want to talk about just from the current draft?
Texans just claimed Deontay Johnson.
Interesting. Okay. That's kind of a name I wasn't even not on my radar. I wasn't even thinking about it.
Tank Dell got hurt, so it makes sense.
I do think, 49ers lost this weekend again. I do think if you're a 49ers fan, you want the Niners just to lose out. I don't know how high they can get.
But you're still not even. You're barely moving. I don't think that's much to convert. I do think you prefer it, but you're moving 3 picks.
I think the Bears right now, they've definitely not had the season they want to. But I mean, they're in a great position to take one.
But the problem with the Bears, they're still fringe top 10 pick.
No, right now they're 9th.
If you told the Bears they suck this bad and they're not even a top 6 pick, they're not happy.
Well, no, I won't say either. But because of the needs of the quarterback and all that, and Travis Hunter and all that, there could be one of these really good offensive tackles that slide to you, and they need offensive. They are a lock to take offensive tackle with their first pick. So I do think they're. I know that they would probably like to be higher with a 4-12 record at this point, 4-11, but they are in a great position to get an offensive tackle, in my mind, with how this draft board looks right now. Because I think a lot of teams at top. Jacksonville could take offensive tackle, but I think they're going to go defense. Tennessee, I think, could go quarterback. I think we just had the conversation about the Patriots. Cleveland could go quarterback. Raiders, who knows? But I do think, and Jets are the one team that could also go offensive tackle. But I really like the Bears' position in this draft to get, Will Campbell or Kevin Banks. So
I mean, you may not be able to get them though, because what if the Patriots go tackle, or the Browns could go tackle, or the Titans could get their second tackle?
No, it's definitely not a guarantee, but I'd still like their position to get one of those guys. I know it's not guaranteed, but
it's not a good draft, and I think it could just be QBs, 2 tackles are early, and then I guess I don't know much about tackles, so I'm not going to act like I don't know if Josh Simmons from Ohio State could be really good. I don't know. Maybe just take Genty.
That's another interesting conversation. I don't know how high he goes in this draft. I think he'd go anywhere from top 10. I think he's a first round pick for sure.
No,
but I just don't know where in the I think he can go I think he can go top 10. I think he can be back half of the first round because, and maybe teams now, because I've seen the success of teams who have invested in running backs, maybe we see him go higher. But I think it's a wide range of where he goes.
Yeah, maybe
to me, where are the Cowboys right now?
I don't know. Rico Dowdle's good enough.
No, that's what I'm saying. And this mock draft has Bengals taking him. I do not think Bengals should be taking him right now.
Chase Brown's good enough. It's weird because you've seen teams invest, but also it seems like most teams have a running back. San Fran, maybe, but they probably shouldn't.
San Fran is no.
Even though you did see with Patrick Taylor, when you have someone.
Okay, that's their 5th string running back.
No, I know.
Of course, he's gonna look bad.
I mean, it's fun.
Isaac Guerrero is looking really good. 5th string running back. I'm not gonna base me drafting a running back because my 5th string running back sucks.
It's gonna be interesting because it's hard to pick a specific team for.
Now, could Chargers do it? Could Chargers be
Well, if they don't want to if they don't re-sign JK, that'd be interesting. It's hard to pick.
I don't think Tampa will. I don't think Seattle will. I mean, Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet's been really
unless
good.
a team just wants to make a 2-man. And
Denver could do it at 22 right
now. Denver's honestly, I don't think there's a better.
I truly don't see. I think the teams that top have too many needs, and then Bengals, I think that would be dumb. Cowboys, I think it would be a classic Cowboys pick, but I don't think it's smart. Cardinals just re-signed James Conner. Seattle has 2 pretty good running backs. Tampa has Rachaad White and Bucky Irving. Falcons have Bijan. I think he's gonna go. If I had to throw a dart, it'd be Chargers or Broncos.
I don't think Chargers would.
No, I don't think so either. But
I don't think Sean Payton would pass him up because he could think, oh, he's Kamara-y. And Sean Payton has drafted first-round running backs before, Mark Ingram. Sean Payton likes running backs, and he likes to get a good one. I don't think he gets past Denver. I give Cowboys a chance. Arizona could if they don't love Benson, and they're just
but Benson's like, well, we'll see this week. I don't think James Conner is unlike. I don't think he's going to play.
I still give Chicago. I think Chicago could.
Oh, that'd be so stupid.
I think they could. I'm not saying it's the best idea, but
they won't do it. You have to protect your most important asset.
I know.
You need offensive line.
I mean, maybe
like the offensive linemen are. If there's an offensive tackle there, they are not passing that up. Have you seen their offensive line play this year?
No, their offensive line's garbage.
Caleb, at this point, is going to get hit 100 times.
I think there's an argument to make that you're not guaranteed to get just because you take a tackle high that he's going to be good in his first year.
Okay, but I'm going to take my chances on it.
I could see them just signing 1 year dude.
And it's a very good running back draft. They very well could just do offensive tackle and then running back. If they want to do running back,
but you could sign Cam Robinson because he's probably not going to stay with the Vikings because Darrisaw's going to be back. That's going to be a tackle who's out there. Then there's some other ones.
Even if they do sign Cam Robinson, I think they draft the right tackle.
But then you can also sign right tackle. I don't know.
I don't
think it's the worst idea if you sign linemen and then you say this is a bad draft. Let's get Let's go the lockiest lock.
If I'm Denver or if I'm Chicago, I'm going either offensive lineman or a pass. You need another pass rusher opposite Montez.
I'm just saying you could just get a lock at Ashton Genty.
Yeah, but behind a bad offensive line, who knows?
But if you sign Cam Robinson,
before this year, Caleb Williams, we thought Caleb Williams was a for sure lock to be very productive this year. But behind a bad offensive line, you're not going to do.
I know, but I'm saying if they sign linemen.
Okay, but there's you're saying a lot of ifs.
I'm saying one if they sign 2 linemen.
They signed offensive linemen this past offseason and missed on both of them.
Well, yeah, but they haven't gone all out on a lineman.
Cam Robinson, Nate Davis. That was one of their big signings, and they cut him.
Yeah, but I'm talking about you're dropping near $20 million on a lineman per year. They have not done that yet. Cam Robinson would be doing that. Ronnie Stanley would be doing that. Ryan Stanley. They should just pay Ronnie Stanley whatever he wants.
We'll see. But for me, Chicago, it's either offensive line or defensive line. That's
you can make a trade. It's such a weird draft.
Yeah. Should we move on, or do you have any other?
Let's make our picks.
All right. So week 17, we didn't make our picks last week. I did write because we were supposed to do our podcast last week, but we didn't do it last minute. I did have my picks made, but of course we didn't make them, so I'm not gonna.
I did not make my picks, but I did put Packers to beat Saints. But
see, so I had Cowboys beating Tampa, which thank God they won.
I think I would have picked that.
I sadly have a lot of investment in the Falcons right now, and I don't know why I did it because I remember was it last year you had Falcons on your division parlays?
Yeah, I don't want to talk.
And I did that. And I did the same exact thing. I don't know why I did that, but
they control their own destiny, brother.
No, they do control. Washington just scares the crap out of me. That's if they get past Washington, I'm relatively confident. Or if Panthers beat Tampa, I feel pretty good. Anywho, let's move on to Week 17 picks. So this week we have games on Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We have I don't know why the NFL did this. I think the 4 teams that played on Saturday got screwed over by being scheduled on Christmas. Did the NFL think, we put them on Saturday so they get extra time to? It's not that bad. I don't understand why they put these 4 teams. I think all these 4 teams got screwed. First game of the week, as it was, or I guess Chargers was the first game of the week this past week. But Chiefs, Steelers. Chiefs are minus 2.5 in this game.
I'm going to take the Chiefs. I feel a lot better. I have no idea what's happening with Pickens. And
they said Tomlin said he expect there's a good chance that he returns this week.
Okay, I assume so too. If Pickens plays and Chris Jones doesn't, I'm going to be very wary on it. But you know what? It's Christmas. I guess last Christmas didn't work out so well, but it's Christmas. Chiefs are playing for the 1 seed. I think they get it done. Chiefs minus 2.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take Chiefs minus 2.5 as well. I think whenever Chiefs are this good of value, you just have to bet them. I was dumb last week and didn't bet them all their plus odds because I still thought they would win even if Carson Wentz played. So I didn't jump on that value. I had Chiefs minus 2.5 as well. I don't trust Russell Wilson in these type of spots. I just don't. Najee Harris, I don't think is that efficient of a runner, and Chiefs are one of the best rush defenses in the league. Now, that may change if Chris Jones is out, but I'm still going to take Patrick Mahomes over Russell Wilson, and I'm still going to take the surrounding pieces. I think the offense, Xavier Worthy's still, of course, still has room to grow, but he's figured some things out throughout the year. So I like the Chiefs in this one. Ravens at the Texans. This is a second game on Christmas. Texans ending the game with some key injuries. Ravens minus 5.5 in this one.
You got it at 5.5. I got it at 4.
Let me see when I wrote it down. I did my picks while you.
I did them. Okay.
Do
you know what?
Let's do 4.5 since you did it before. We'll do 4.5.
4.5. Well, this is not a logical pick. I got Texans winning, and it's not based off logic, and it's a gut feel, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Ravens have one of the best run defenses in the league. Joe Mixon got kind of shut down by the Chiefs earlier this on Saturday. There's no Tank Dell, there's no Stephon Diggs. Because they get shut down the run, I'm going to take the Ravens in this one, but I do have the Texans covering. Now, 5.5, I feel much more comfortable with. I'll stick with the covering in 4.5. So I do think this.
No, I'm picking Texans. Let's just do 5.5 because I'm picking them anyways.
All right, so okay, fine. Okay, I'll take. Okay, I don't mind that at all. I'll take Texans plus 5.5, but I'll take the Ravens to win.
I got a weird feeling, man. Weird feeling that maybe in Dynasty we pick up either one of the Houston guys. Championship week. Ravens don't have good pass defense, mate. I'm calling a Stroud, really good Stroud game.
I don't know, no Shaq Mason though. So I don't. That offensive line's going to be.
I'm calling my shot.
Seahawks at the Bears. Seahawks minus 3.5. This does feel like a little bit of a trap game for me.
Really does. But I don't care. I can't pick the Bears. I can't pick the Bears. Seattle minus 3.5.
I'll take Seattle minus 3.5 as well. Bears this past week was the first time they scored any points in the first half. It's really weird. They don't show up to play in these games. It takes a while to get into these games, and most of their production is just garbage time. And it's a very I don't know what to make of Chicago, even moving forward. I do think if they get a good head coach, I totally believe in them to be really pretty good next year. But in the NFC North, I mean, who knows? This game's on Saturday. Man, these throwing me off. We have 3 Saturday games, which is kind of crazy. The first one, Chargers at the Patriots. I think when I did this pick, yeah, it was Chargers minus 5. Now it's Chargers minus 4. I don't know which line you want to go with.
I had it at minus 5, so let's stick with minus 5 and taking Chargers. Patriots almost did a solid for the Chiefs, but they still suck. So I'm going to take Chargers minus 5. And Chargers have some rest.
I know Patriots didn't win the game, but they came really close to beating the Bills. This feels like a classic letdown game.
Yeah.
And Drake May was kind of banged up at the end of that game. I don't know the extent of the injury. I don't expect them to miss it all. But I do think Chargers are going to find a way to win this game by more than 5 points. We'll see about the run game, but I think Justin Herbert does enough against a pretty weak Patriots team. And we'll see. I wonder if they put Christian Gonzalez on Ladd McConkey. They haven't fault Ladd McConkey. Because Christian Gonzalez has been a lockdown corner. I'm curious if they force Justin Herbert and somebody else to beat them in the past game. Broncos at the Bengals. Bengals are minus 3. Based on your earlier comments, I kind of think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, I'm picking the Broncos. They're the better team. I mean, come on. I don't care that the Bengals have the 3-headed monster. And the Broncos have a pass rush. Benito and Surtain are second and third defense player of the year odds. You got a couple stars on defense. If those two can if Surtain can do a good job and you do okay job on Higgins and get pass rush, Broncos should be able to march up and down the Bengals defense. Give me Broncos.
I'm taking the Bengals in this one. And
you don't fall off the Bengal train.
Here's the thing with the Broncos. They've had a good defense. They gave up 34 points to the Chargers, and the Bengals have by far a way more receiving core, way more explosive.
It was a bad game.
And a better run game. On the road to Cincinnati, I think it's a really bad formula for the Broncos. I don't know if they can keep. I know Bengals defense is very bad, but I don't know if they can keep up in this one. I'm gonna take Bengals. I'm gonna take the Bengals in a potential shootout, but I'm gonna trust Joe Burrow and Higgins and Chase Brown.
On the road means nothing. That means nothing
for a rookie. Like a lot of the pressure now is on the Broncos.
There's
way more pressure on this game.
And you have the experienced head coach who's won a Super Bowl.
I'm going to take the Bengals in this one. I'm going to take the Bengals. Cardinals at the Rams. Rams are -6, and Cardinals were just eliminated from the playoffs this past week with the loss.
I'm done with the Cardinals. Give me Rams -6. Even though they did not look good against the Jets, give me Rams -6.
Well, that was a West Coast team traveling to the East Coast. That's kind of understandable. And the Jets have been playing well of late. I do like the Rams this one -6. I think the Rams are going to win this division, not comfortably, but get through at the end. So I do have them being Cardinals. They're not going to get swept by Arizona this year. Kyler Murray's not that good of a quarterback. I don't really trust him at all. He's a check down machine. And I think Matt Stafford at home with this run game, I think the Cardinals may check out pretty early on in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I really think they could. That defeat was pretty bad. And Trey McBride's reaction was kind of telling. Jets at the Bills. Bills -10. I guess Josh Allen picked up another injury. Said he couldn't feel his hand. I don't think I'm not going to say that it will cost him any games, but I do think this game could be interesting.
I don't think so. They just had 9 points against the Rams. I think the Bills had you have games like that where a bad team tests you, and the Patriots did that. So I think they bounced back. I think the Bills just dropped like 40 again. Give me Bills -10.
I'm gonna take Bills money line, and I don't think it's gonna be like a nail biting game, but I do think Jets covered in this one, either backdoor cover or they kind of stick around. Just kind of an ugly game. Bills defense has not been that great. I mean, they gave up 21 to Drake May on the road without a receiving core. I think Drake May is much better than Aaron Rodgers at this point, but I do think the Jets give Bills a test in a divisional game. Raiders at the Saints. I will not watch a single second of this game. This is only for draft purposes that this game has any storylines in it. The Saints are -1.5.
Give me Saints.
That's
my analysis. It doesn't need it.
I'm gonna take the Raiders in an upset here. I'm gonna take the Raiders. I think they're gonna plummet their draft position even more.
Saints have actually played some solid football.
Yeah, but no Kamara. They don't. I kind of like Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers. I kind of like the weapons for Raiders more. Colts at the Giants. Colts are -7.5.
I have Colts winning, but I do have Giants covering. Colts defense is not playing well. I mean, you let Mason Rudolph drop 30. That's never good. Denver offense played bad, and they still got the 31. Yeah, give me Colts money line, but I think Giants get like a backdoor.
Yeah, I have the same exact pick. Colts win. Giants cover 7.5. If it was at Indy, I would take the Colts pretty comfortably in the spot, but you just don't know which Anthony Richardson you're going to get. And maybe they just lean on Jonathan Taylor like they did this past week, but I do think the Giants cover in this one. Cowboys at the Eagles. Did the line move on this one again? I think I got the Eagles at minus. Oh, it didn't move. My bad. Or not the Lions. The Eagles are -9.5 in this one, which I think is a pretty large spread for not knowing the status of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that's too many points. It's too many points. Cooper Rush playing good football. I'm going to take Dallas to cover, but I am going to pick Eagles to win. Dallas playing good ball. Mike McCarthy's doing a good job. I think Dallas's pass rush is starting to pick it up. So the defense game, like Micah Parsons, 9.5 sacks in 11 games. And then they're having some nice production all the way around. Give me 9.5, but Eagles money line.
I have the same exact pick as well. The last two we've agreed on exactly. I think it's too many points, like you said. Without knowing if Jalen Hurts is going to play, I'm not comfortable taking Philly to win by that much. I think this game's actually very interesting. The spread doesn't indicate that. Panthers at the Buccaneers. Buccaneers -8.
Yeah, that makes no sense. What? I have Panthers winning. I don't believe in Tampa. I like Baker. I don't believe in Tampa. You saw with Dallas last night, he's trying to come back. I know that they beat the hell out of the Chargers, but I think that was just one of those fluke games. Carolina nearly beat them already. Maybe should have. Give me Carolina. I think they're getting this one.
I'm actually surprised. I had the same pick. I have Panthers winning this game. I don't know if it's because I need the Falcons to win their division for some money. I don't know if that's why I made this pick. But I do think the Buccaneers Baker Mayfield's not. He has not played well against the Panthers since being the Buccaneers quarterback. They kind of have his number. Panthers should have won the last time these two played, and now Panthers, I think they've been hitting at the door or at the wall so much to get a win these past few weeks, and they finally did it. I think that kind of carries over into this week. And I think the way the Bucs lost this game, I think that could potentially carry over into Week 17 in this contest.
Mm-hmm.
Next game, let's just say the team we think is going to win. Titans at Jaguars. Jaguars -1. Like we said earlier, this is just
Jaguars.
Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take a Tennessee. I'm gonna take Tennessee upset. Dolphins at the Browns. Dolphins -6.5. This spread, I'm not. I mean, I guess DTR is playing most likely. So
yeah, if it was Jameis, I would have thought it over. But this is like maybe my most confident spread. Give me Miami -6.5. They're playing better.
So here's my gut call prediction. I think Jameis is going to play this game, not start, but I think at some point they're going to take DTR out just because the offense is really bad. That's not the worst
thought.
And I think Jameis is going to be in this game at some point, after the first quarter, definitely after halftime, maybe second quarter. I'm going to take Dolphins to win, but I like the Browns to cover. I don't trust Dolphins at all, especially in the cold weather. Myles Garrett could wreck this game, and I don't trust Tua in this offense at all. Packers at the Vikings. This game got flexed at 325. It was originally a noon game. Vikings are -1.5 at home.
I'm taking Packers. I kind of said it that Packers are my Super Bowl pick right now, and they're both good teams. Sam Darnold just had his moment this week. I think we have a Jordan Love moment. And give me Packers, but probably the best game of the week.
Again, this may be because I need the Lions to win the division for some money. I have Packers winning.
I'm just picking this stuff because I believe it.
This one I have more conviction on. So Vikings beat Packers early in the year. I don't see the Vikings sweeping the Packers. And the Vikings have actually they've been impressive, but they've been winning a lot of close games. I mean, they won by 3. They beat Chicago and Atlanta pretty convincingly, but they beat Arizona by 1, beat Chicago by 3. There's a lot of close games, and I think Packers. You do not want to play Packers on turf. That's been my thing all year. Is that you rather play them at Lambeau? They play worse at Lambeau. They're actually slower because it's grass. I like the Packers in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Falcons at Commanders. Yesterday, this line was originally Washington -5. It is now Washington -4.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday night, this is another game that got flexed. This is a very polarizing game. I'm very interested to watch this. 2 rookie quarterbacks going head-to-head as well.
I truly have made these picks because I believe that's what's going to happen. And basically, according to me, your bets are all going to lock this week. I got Falcons. I think it took a little while, but then they got the offense going. Penix really split it between Mooney and London. So he's kind of just thrown to the 2 guys.
We'll see London's status. He did hurt his hamstring. Raheem Morris said he would have gone back in the game if.
I think
we'll see practice reports.
And Commanders, I know they won, but I feel like this is like a letdown spot for them. After Daniels has a great game, I'm taking Falcons. Lucky for you.
This is another pick.
Or unlucky for you.
Where I picked it because of my bets. I had the Falcons winning, but when you actually look at these 2 teams, you can make an argument that Falcons actually are the better roster. They just had worse quarterback play. Jay Daniels just carried Washington. Not a great offensive line, but they've played it above their pay grade. The receiving court's really Terry McLaurin, and that's about it. Brian Ronson, you don't really trust that much the run game. The Falcons' pass rush has actually picked it up the past few weeks. I think the Falcons now that they have Michael Penix in there, you kind of sense more belief, and I think the defense is also going to continue to play this type of style. They're kind of picking it up late in the year because you have a rookie quarterback. You want to pick it up because you have a rookie quarterback playing. I like the Falcons in a spot. Even if I wasn't picking Falcons just because of my bet, at 5.5 points, I would have taken Falcons to cover the spread. The Commanders are very dependent on Jane Daniels, and I don't trust Cliff Kingsbury. I still don't trust this offense at this part of the season.
Another good game. That's another good one.
Lions at the 49ers. Lions are -3.5. I'm just gonna say if I ever say the Niners are gonna have a down season, just make the bet that they're going to have a down season.
We're not gonna do this again. I don't get how it's minus 3.5. I don't care that they're hurt. San Fran just lost to Miami. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Lions minus 3.5. I don't have much else to say.
You want me to read you the 49ers point totals outside of the Chicago game, which is 3 weeks ago.
I was looking at them, but it's not been good.
17, 6, 10, 10, 17. And this is why I would not. It's another conversation for another day. I would not pay Brock Purdy anywhere close to what the reports are. I would not do it at all. I'm gonna take Lions this one. Lions minus 3.5. If it was like minus 2.5,
I'm honestly more scared for the Lions to win the game. If it was minus 6.5, I would be like, yeah, Lions are gonna win. But now that's minus 3.5. I'm like, Lions are gonna win, but I don't know.
Don't overthink it. Some of these lines make like weeks ago, Buffalo's -4 at the Colts, and I overthought it. Like, some of these lines cause you to overthink. The 49ers are not going to be able to keep up with the Lions, and after losing in Miami, it just may be toast there. It just may be toast. So, and they risk elimination from the playoffs. I think the Lions know what they have to play for. They know the Vikings are right there. They know they can't afford to lose.
They could clinch the 1 seed, could they?
If they win, so
I think if Packers win, they can clinch the 1 seed.
Oh,
as long as they don't, as long as they don't then tie against the Vikings.
Wait, hold on, 13-3-14. Well, no, here's the thing. Like, I don't think they can clinch though, can they?
I think they have the tie.
If they go 14-2 and Vikings are 13-3, because I was looking at divisional records.
Yeah, they have a better divisional record. If Packers
beat
Vikings,
they would be 4-2 or 3-2. Okay. It's if the Vikings win and the Lions win, and then the Vikings beat the Lions, they would have the same divisional record. Which I don't know how. I need to look at the tiebreakers after. I don't know if it's like conference record.
I'm pretty sure Lions can clinch the 1 seed, but not technically clinch because a tie. No, they could clinch. I think Packers win, beat Minnesota, and Lions win. They have the 1
divisional record be worse. Yeah, and I hope that's the case. I hope if my divisional parlays can clinch this week.
No, according to my thing, you're gonna be richer by Monday evening.
I would be very happy. But we know if we both have bets online, or if you think my bet's gonna hit, I don't really feel great.
Yeah, there's a problem there.
Yeah. Well, that will do it for our episode this week. You guys all have a Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll probably have a recording for the New Year's. We'll probably have to do another one like a Monday or Tuesday like this. But until then, make sure to follow the channel, subscribe. We also post our podcast episodes on Spotify as well if you want to give a listen on there as well. And hopefully Luke's right. Hopefully my bets hit this weekend, and Week 18 can be a major chill fest. And hopefully we win our Dicey League as well. That'd be more ka-ching.
That'd be good week. Good week.
Yep.